Thought leadership is what we just did now. Thinking in depth, putting your ideas down on paper and being able to review them yourself and go, heck, I got a program, but I'm constantly iterating what I'm thinking about, and I can write a serious book out of this. But there's a lot of people that do that don't do the deep thinking and just do the marketing. They are good marketers. They're not deep thinkers. I want you to be both. I want you to be a great marketer, and I want you to be a deep thinker. I want people that meet you to go, this dude's the real deal. Not that they come and they work with you and they pay you, but then they realize you're full of crap and they don't want to ever have anything to do with you again.
All right, we are recording intro for episode 134 with Nicky Billou. What is going on, everybody, guys? Welcome back this week to another amazing, very, very exciting episode of the Superhuman Life. As always, guys, I'm your host, Frank Rich. I just want to remind you how incredibly grateful and thankful we are to have you here with us today. Guys, today's conversation is jam-packed with value, jam-packed with insight, jam-packed with inspiration. We talk a lot about the need for men rising up. We talk a lot about the men that need to level up and the need for strong leaders, strong masculine men in the world today. But one thing we haven't addressed a lot is how can you begin to stand out in a particular area? How can you begin to stand out in a crowded marketplace or maybe in a specific industry or arena that you're pursuing? And what we're going to get into today's conversation is the topic and discussion around thought leadership. I have one of the world's leading experts in thought leadership on the show with me today, none other than Nicky Billou. Nicky Billou is an international best-selling author, and he's the host of the #1 podcast for thought leaders and the creator of the Thought Leader, Heart Leader designation and co-founder of the E-Circle Academy. Now, Nicky has been helping business owners, coaches, and consultants become real thought leaders and expand their businesses from 6 to 7 and then 8 figures and beyond. He's also the host of the Sovereign Man podcast, where he dives into important discussions, topics, and conversations to help men discover their masculinity and begin to level up and become the men that we need them to be in today's world. So in this conversation, Nick and I explore a few different conversations. And number one, I have him define what is thought leadership and where does somebody need to be in their life in order to begin to become a thought leader? And what does that path and pursuit look like? We give you guys some practical and tactical advice on how to expand your way of thinking with some real live role playing, which was a lot of fun to use Nicky's expertise to help me kind of uncover a few things in my business and in my journey. We then take a slight pivot and get into the necessary conversation for men. Why we need strong men, what is causing this chaos that we're seeing in the world today, and how are we going to get out of this? Why do we need mentorship? Why do men need communities? So we get into all these amazing conversations, guys, with Nicky, who is an expert, a leader, thirst for knowledge. He read 150 some odd books last year. So we talk about the importance for books and give you guys some actionable steps there to take away to begin to level up your education. Without further ado, let's get into today's conversation with the host of the Thought Leader Revolution podcast and the Sovereign Mind podcast, Nicky Billou. We'll see you guys on the other side. Nicky, my brother, welcome to the Superhuman Live.
Frank, it's an honor to be here, man. I'm excited to be with you.
Dude, I'm in love with your energy, man. Your passion, your excitement, your fire just to help people, men specifically though. So I'm so fired up to kind of dive into your background, your story, your work. And I think a really great place to start here is, you have this podcast. It's called the Thought Leader podcast, the Thought Leader Revolution podcast. I'm sorry, let me get that correct. So I'm curious, in today's world with, you see these social media influencers, anybody with a check mark is an expert in a specific area. What separates somebody? What makes somebody become a thought leader? And why is it important for us to have this conversation today around thought leadership?
One of my mentors is a man named Matt Church. He started the Thought Leaders Global Movement in Australia. And he has a really brilliant distinction between an expert and a thought leader. He said an expert is someone who knows something. Experts are a dime a dozen. They're nothing special. But a thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. They're professionally famous as the go-to person in their space who can solve the problem that you have better than anybody else. Thought leaders are rare and valuable. Now, another man, the great David Meerman Scott, who's Tony Robbins' marketing mentor. I had him on my show, and this is how he put it. It's so elegant, even more elegant than the way Matt Church put it. He said, an expert is like a cover band, while a thought leader plays original music. You think about that, right? Like Who would you rather be? Would you rather be CEO of generic computer company, or would you rather be Steve Jobs? Who would you rather be? Would you rather be CEO of generic car company, or would you rather be Elon Musk? You think about that, right? Who would you rather be your coach? Joe Blow, life coach, or Tony Robbins? Thought leaders, man, they're rare, they're valuable, they get people fired up, they solve problems. Thought leadership lets you be seen as that guy, as that gal. Thought leadership gets you paid. Thought leadership has you be revered as the person that made an impact inside a space. That to me is what makes thought leadership so valuable, so important in 2022, my brother.
I love that so much. Now, do you think everybody has the ability to become a thought leader, or is it something that is left for a small handful of people, right? Because I know that there's going to be certain people that hear that and they're like, I don't want to be Elon Musk. I don't want to be Steve Jobs. I would be okay with being the CEO of X company that does, $200,000 a year. You wouldn't even be a CEO at that point. You'd probably be an owner, operator. But so is the ability to be a thought leader, is that path there for everybody? Or is there something unique about somebody's makeup, genetic wiring, or their drive to pursue thought leadership?
Well, the answer is really both. Everybody is a child of God put here on this earth by God Almighty. The good Lord has made you special, has given you unique gifts, has given you unique life experiences. And if you follow what Nicky Billou teaches you inside of our incredible programs, I will show you how to pull that out of you and turn it into something rare, unique, and valuable that can get you paid. But if you have a limiting belief that I can never be that, then you will never be that. You will be stuck. You will be one of those poor, lovable folks, those wandering generalities, rather than those unique specifics. And I say, let's make you a unique specific. Let's get you feeling like you are living the life you were meant to live, my brother. Let's get you believing in your greatness, in your glory, in the path, the vision that God Almighty has set for you. Because if we can do that, you will live a life of fulfillment and you will live a life of payment, because you deserve to get paid, brother.
Brother, we're operating on the same wavelength here, right? What I hear you say is like being a thought leader is living a superhuman life. It's understanding that there's a purpose and calling here on your life. You need to be intentional about showing up every single day. So I know we're going to get into so much. Hearing your passion, hearing your energy and excitement for this, I'm curious, like, where did thought leadership begin to become the passion for you? Like, you developed this. Have there been things that you've had to overcome in your own life? Let's unpack a little bit of Nicky's story, if you'd be okay for that.
So in 2016, I was business partners with a man named Michael Palmer. He introduced thought leadership to me. He introduced me to Matt Church's work, and I just got into it. I just thought this is amazing, and it helped me develop my own expertise. So I'm known for a bunch of things as Nicky Billou. So I'm known as a man who helps you become a thought leader, the go-to person in your space. I'm known as a man who is like a king of enrollment. I love enrolling people into things, and I'm the king of enrollment. I enroll people into all kinds of things. I'm also known as the man with the energy of now, because most people go through life and they don't do things now. And the great Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man in the world 100 years ago, met with Napoleon Hill when Napoleon Hill was nobody but some reporter who was interviewing him, and made him an offer and said, "Yo, Nap." My dad's name was Napoleon, and Napo was his kind of diminutive name. And he said, "Yo, Nepo, I have an offer for you. How'd you like to spend the next 20 years bringing my philosophy of success to the world? I will not pay you a stipend, but I will give you letters of introduction to the 500 most successful men and women in the United States. What say you?" Napoleon Hill took a few seconds and said, "Yes." And the rest is history. 20 odd years later, he came back to meet the great man, Andrew Carnegie, before he passed on. And Andrew Carnegie said to him, "You didn't know this, but when I made that offer to you, I had a stopwatch under the table, and I was giving you 1 minute to make up your mind. And if you hadn't made up your mind in 1 minute, I was going to withdraw the offer." And he went like, "Whoa, I'm glad I made up my mind in less than a minute." And he said, "Why do you think that's important? After all that you've learned," he said, "because the most successful people are fast actors, fast deciders. They live in now. They get all the facts and they make a decision. They don't wait. They don't think about it. They don't have a seance with their dead ancestors. They act. They answer. They're in. And I've created some thought leadership of my own around this. Here is the Nicky Billou E-Circle success formula. Step number 1, decide that you're going to make your dreams come true. Okay. Step number 2, commit to doing Nicky Billou's program to help you get there. Step number 3, act within that program and do everything you're taught. And step number 4, win and create the business and life of your dreams. In contrast, if you want to lose, you put off making a decision. You avoid committing to yourself and your dreams and doing programs like mine that'll get you there. You distract yourself and you don't act, and therefore you lose and your dreams never come true. This is original thought leadership from Nicky Billou about the importance of acting now. There is no other time. There's only now. Every other time is BS. I'll get to it later is no. It is nothing but no. That's how you got to be with people. You got to say, hey, you want to act? We're acting now. Everything else is a no. And it's not a no to me. It's not a no to my program. It's a no to you. It's a no to your dream. It's a no to the best version of yourself that you could possibly be. You are saying no to all of that in order to live a small, limited life. God, that's got to suck for you.
Love that. Love that. So obviously you're aware of the work that I do. I help guys in kind of the addiction space. And I wrote a book called The 7-Step Guide. And step 1 is decide. And it's like, I've had some pushback and it's like, people are like, I'm obviously reading this book because I've made the decision. Why do you tell me to make a decision? Like almost like discrediting what I put into my book. And I'm like, you haven't decided yet, or you would have already overcome this. So I'm so in line with the power of decision. Like Tony Robbins has taught. You talked about Tony at the beginning, right? Like the power of choosing and deciding and committing. So I see those two kind of tied here together. But there's so much power in making those commitments. Now, one thing you said at the beginning when we opened up, around thought leadership is you have an expert. They know something. The thought leader is known for knowing something, though. So if somebody wants to become a true thought leader, must they be an expert first in a specific area?
Look, you ought to know something about something. I mean, you can't become a thought leader out of the ether. You've got to have some life experience or expertise you've done, but not necessarily in an industry. So I'll give you an example. It could be somebody's been an accountant all their life, and they go, I'm done with accountancy. I want to become a thought leader. I want to coach people. Well, they're an expert in coaching. They're definitely not an expert in coaching. But this is a person who has developed expertise. And I would imagine that accountants are good problem solvers. They're detail-oriented. So they can create thought leadership around solving problems and executing on details. And if you teach people inside of a coaching program, inside of a group training program, how to deal with those issues inside their businesses, then that's true thought leadership. That's true expertise. Although isn't specific to an industry. Thought leadership is about what your life has taught you. So I went through a horrific breakup of my marriage. I went through a divorce I did not want. Okay. What did that teach me? Well, it taught me that as a husband, number one, I sucked. You know what I mean? I did not know how to listen to my wife. I thought that just being a faithful guy who brought home the bacon was enough. Well, it wasn't. She needed more than that. So I learned how to support other men. So I learned how to come up with all the shit that men do wrong and bring it to people that need to hear that to help them avoid the same mistakes. So it's my expertise in doing men's work. Well, my expertise right now is in helping men keep their families together. That's an area I've got some expertise in, right? I've also been enrolling people into courses and programs for 20 plus years, man, 25 plus years. So what does that make me an expert in? I'm the king of enrollment. I'm good at enrollment. I'm good at recruiting, right? These are the things that make your expertise, not the specific thing you do. And this is what we do inside our program. We go a layer deeper, help you figure out what that is, what you've done has been all about. And then using that, we can build thought leadership that gets you paid. Because if being an accountant was what you wanted to do, you'd keep doing it. And if it paid all that well, you'd stay with it. But you want to do something that allows you to build on what you learned, what being an accountant was all about, to get you paid in thought leadership, to get you paid by offering a program that solves an acute problem that people have that may or may not have anything to do with accounting. You with me, Frank?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about, brother.
So hearing you say, it's almost like if you're looking, you're thinking like, I'm not really an expert in anything. Like I've just kind of lived this, this ordinary life. It's like, no, your expertise is in your journey, your life's experience, because nobody has your same life's experiences. And it's working with somebody like you that is going to be able to ask you the specific questions to pull out the value in your journey that could then help somebody else. Did I kind of perceive all that
Bang on,
like
brother.
correctly?
Bang on. So let's say let's say you're 40 years old, Frank, and let's say, you went through life and you were a star athlete. Well, let's say, I don't know, when you were 18 years old, your best friend died, right? Your best friend died, and that had a searing impact on you. Let's say you got married at 30, and at 33, your marriage broke up. That's an impact. Let's say you built a company, you built it to 10 million. There was a crash, company crashed. All of those things. Now, also the good things in your life, the birth of your kids and, winning a championship at the state championship, et cetera. All those are in there too. From there, we withdraw, we pull out all the things that gave you specific expertise. We do an exercise. It's powerful, but it makes you think. And we say to people, why is it that so few people become thought leaders? Well, because it involves thinking. And thinking is the hardest work there is. That's why so few people do it. But thinking is the most rewarding work there is, because when you do your thinking, you become successful. You become someone who can come up with things, build programs, develop ideas, and put them out there and make them commercial, make them monetizable. Get you paid, my brother. Because you deserve to be paid. Frank, you deserve to make $1 million a year, $10 million a year even. And if you're not making that, gosh darn it, man, we should make that for you. We should sit down and figure out why that is. Because everybody who's good and in business deserves to live life with their business as the best version of themselves. That's what I say.
Now, do you have a process you walk people through to improve their thinking? Can we dive in? Can we dive into that?
Well, yes. And it works like this. Step one is I have a conversation with somebody and we go into where their business is at, what they want to do, where they want to take it. Step two is we have them sign up for our program, the Branded Thought Leader Immersion Workshop. And step three is we go through a whole series of things inside the program to help people do that. So one exercise we have people do as part of that is write down your statements of expertise. So just sit down right now and write 10 things you know to be true inside the hard-won expertise of life. So, I can do this for you in the area of recruiting. Just give me a second. I'm going to read you 10 things in the area of recruiting that I believe everybody could benefit from. So just give me a sec while I find this. All right, here we go. So here's recruiting, 10 statements. Statement number 1, always be recruiting. Statement number 2, recruitment is an act of love. Statement number 3, ask them to join. Statement number 4, promote yourself. Statement number 5, a successful recruiter is a movement builder. Statement number 6, recruiting is a daily discipline. Statement number 7, recruitment is a team sport. Statement number 8, master recruiters are master persuaders. Statement number 9, you can recruit 20 times as many people as you think you can. And statement number 10, are you an amateur or a pro recruiter? So these statements are the basis for me to build a body of thought leadership. I take each one of those, blow them up, expand them, add 2, 3, 4 more powerful sentences. I do a case study review on each. I do a literature review on each. I do a visual diagram. I do a metaphor. I do 7 ways to say this. Those 10 become my commercial PhD in recruiting, my brother. That's how it works. Now, I did that for you in a minute, but that's probably 20 hours worth of work to get that done right, minimum.
Yeah. No, I think I was more asking the question around, you made the comment that like not a lot of people actually spend any time thinking. We're connected to a cell phone. We have access to any possible question we would possibly need the answer to. So many people don't spend a minute any single day with an original thought. So I didn't know if you
that was it.
In your
that
program.
Is the process. Those are 10 statements of original thinking by Nicky Billou. I thought them through. I wrote them down. And then I expanded on them. I have a system and a process for each. So each one of those statements gets expanded into a full, in-depth set of Nicky's deep thoughts. So
that's what I was asking around is, do you have a series of questions that you're leading people through to
no,
get them thinking about their own original thoughts?
No, I have a process, just what I showed you. But I got to teach it to them. It takes me an hour to teach it to them when I'm in the program. They got to ask themselves the questions at this stage. But the first thing I have them do is write out your statements of expertise about an area that you know a thing or two about, right? So, Frank, what's an area you know a thing or two about? Let's do this live.
Porn addiction recovery.
Okay, porn addiction recovery. Give me 5 statements that you know to be true about porn addiction recovery.
You have the ability to recover if you're caught in it. You weren't born with a porn addiction. I think that's a false belief that a lot of guys have. If you allow your brain to reset and reboot and heal, you will begin to see the world differently.
Right.
And a man will only fail or relapse once committing to quitting porn for one of 2 reasons: lack of self-belief or lack of character traits, or the inability to do the necessary things to live a porn-free life.
And 5?
You won't recover by yourself. You need a community.
Okay, great. Now take one of those. Pick one of those 5 for me right now. Just pick it.
The last one, you won't recover by yourself without a community.
All right, great. Expand on that. Give me 3 more sentences that expand on that. Why is that true?
Yeah, well, I mean, community and relationships are fundamental for human life, right? You won't succeed in doing anything by yourself. You know, you want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go with a group. Secondly, the group will offer you a safe place to have the necessary conversations about what you're going through, and that is going to get you many times out of shame, because guys that are struggling with porn addiction are oftentimes caught up in shame. And the value in a community is also realizing like you're not the only person that is going through this by themselves.
Give me 4 initials of case studies of people that did this. 4 initials only.
J, K, E, C.
Is that 4 separate people, or is that
J, Justin, K, Karsten.
No, don't tell me your names.
Oh.
Okay, right. All right. So, okay, I thought that was
JK
was first name, last name. I didn't get it. All right, that's 4.
Nope.
Okay, great. Is there been any studies or books written about this subject?
Yeah.
Great. Can you come up with 4, just off the top of your head, the name of the study or the name of the book?
Dopamine Nation, Your Brain on Porn, Surfing for God, Wired for Intimacy.
Awesome. So you have 4 case studies. You have 4 books in the literature review. You see what we did? We took your statement. We made it deeper. 4 case studies, 4 literature review. Now, visually, how would you demonstrate this? Would it be like a Venn diagram? Would it be a box diagram? Would it be an XY graph? How would you visually demonstrate this to make it easy for someone to look at it and go, I get it?
The community side, I believe that would probably be best demonstrated in either a Venn diagram or maybe an XY chart. We could maybe have length of recovery on one side, doing it alone or doing it by yourself.
Perfect.
And then maybe
I love it. That's
chart.
really good.
Probably an XY chart there.
Do me a favor. Draw that somewhere in front of you right now, because that's brilliant. So I don't want you to lose that. Let's come up with a metaphor. What is don't do it alone like in this case?
Don't do it alone is like, I mean, any example in life, right?
It's like learning how to walk by yourself. Can't be done.
There you go. Yeah, because you're going to fall down. Somebody's going to have to pick you back up.
Congratulations.
Exactly.
In 7 minutes, you just did what I teach people to do that takes them an hour and a half to do.
Got it.
So we did this with 1. What we'd want to do for you is I want to do
5.
20 of these. Now, we came up with 5. I want to do 20 of these over a period of time, as well thought out. And there's some other stuff we do on the back of that sheet that we're not going to get into now because it's next level and a little complicated, and I don't want to confuse people right now. But what I want to say is, when I say this is the work, this is what makes thought leadership, not I've got a bikini, I'm on Instagram, look at me, I'm a thought leader and how to be pretty, or you know what I'm saying? Or let me just tell you, I understand things and you ought to listen to what I say because I got 1 million followers and that's my Lamborghini that I borrowed from somebody and paid $2,000 to have here for this video for you. That's all bullshit. Okay? Thought leadership is what we just did now. Thinking in depth, putting your ideas down on paper and being able to like review them yourself and go, heck, I got a program, but I'm constantly iterating what I'm thinking about. And I can write a serious book out of this, not a bullshit book that people will write and put out there and look at how smart I am. Like Expert Secrets or some bullshit like that. Not that, I don't want to like knock on Russell Brunson because, he's a smart guy and he's got a bunch of things done. But there's a lot of people that do that don't do the deep thinking and just do the marketing. They are good marketers. They're not deep thinkers. I want you to be both. I want you to be a great marketer and I want you to be a deep thinker. I want people that meet you to go, this dude's the real deal. Not that they come and they work with you and they pay you, but then they realize you're full of crap and they don't want to ever have anything to do with you again.
So where are people typically at in their business? It's sounding like you work with a lot of coaches, consultants. Are people typically hiring you once they reach a plateau, a kind of stalemate within their business, or are you helping them get things off the ground? I'm just curious, kind of like what's the point that somebody needs to be at in their life before they should begin to pursue thought leadership?
Look, if you've got no business, first get a business, right? Get some clients. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just, no offense, you got to get somebody saying, yeah, what you do is valuable enough. Have I worked with someone that has not had that? Yes. But typically those people have had a success elsewhere in business. You know what I'm saying? They're coming to this after having been a successful CEO or successful business owner elsewhere. Person starting brand new, I want them to have been in business for at least 3 years. I want them to have had clients. Ideally, they're kind of in the $80K to $250,000 range. We really help those people double their income, get them to $500K. And this is the thing that I say to people is, do you understand that to be successful in business, you're going to need to invest in you because you're the most important asset to the business? Almost everyone nods their head and says yes. Do you understand that the fastest way to double your income this year is to triple your investment in yourself, your own personal professional development? Robin Sharma, who was a client of mine when I was a fitness trainer, taught me this. So you got to keep investing in yourself. So you got to have had a business. If you're at least at 80K, you have some clients, you're doing good. If you want to get to 500K, you should be willing to invest $100,000 over a 3-year period to get you to $500,000 a year. $100,000 over a 3-year period averages about $33,333.33 a year, 1 year, 34 cents, right? But if you get to $500,000 a year and you can keep that, sustain that for 10 years, then that $100,000 investment in yourself generated $5 million for you over a 10-year period. A 3-year investment of $100,000 generates $5 million for you over a 10-year period. Now, if you can make $1 million with that, then it generates $10 million for you over a 10-year period. If you're a business owner, would you invest $100,000 to make a $5 to $10 million return over a 10-year period? It's a no-brainer, yes. Isn't it? It's a no-brainer. So we say to people, be ready to invest, be ready to commit. $100,000 over 3 years will get you to $5 to $10 million over a 10-year period. We'll get you to $500,000 a year within 3 years from wherever you are. You could be at $80,000, you could be at $250,000. It'll get you from $500,000 to $1 million a year within 3 years. The fastest I ever got anybody there was 4 months. That person had a lot of things going for them, right? Like big clients who already trusted them and all that jazz. And the slowest I ever got somebody there was 3 years, 3.5 years. The average person does it in about 2.2 years. 2.2 years. Now, I know everybody wants to hear me say, I'm going to make you rich yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. If that's the guy you need, he'll take your money and you'll feel good about giving him your money, but he won't deliver the result. Me, I won't get you rich quick, but I will get you rich.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think, it's just a product of the world that we're living in. Everybody wants something. Right now, we live in a microwave society. You're hungry, you push a button, food shows up. You want your lights come on, you snap your fingers, lights come on. You want a date, you swipe right, swipe left. You got a date later this night. Like people don't want to work for anything. Like the ability to delay gratification. This is the single number one indicator of success in any area of your life. So I appreciate you, being open and honest. You're like, hey, this is going to be a process, but if you trust the process, we're going to get you there. I want to go back a little bit because you shared something there with Robin Sharma that I didn't know about your background. So you were a trainer? You were a fitness coach trainer?
I was one of the top trainers in Canada. I had a brand called the CEO Health Coach. I trained Raymond Aaron, who's Canada's coach. I trained Robin Sharma. I've trained multi-billionaire business owners, trained top CEOs. That was my shtick. Yeah. I helped Raymond at the age of 62 prepare for the world's toughest race, polar race, a 350-mile foot race, 353 mile to be exact, foot race from Resolute Bay to the magnetic North Pole on foot. He did that at the age of 62. I trained him for 2 years and got him there. It is one of the proudest accomplishments of my coaching career, is to take a fat, out of shape business executive and make him do the world's toughest race and finish. He didn't win the race, but he came in fourth, and he beat two younger, faster teams.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Congratulations. We have a lot of young men that listen to this audience. And I believe, like, if you're a young man struggling to find your way in life, get a job working at a gym for multiple reasons, right? Obviously, committing to your own health and fitness is going to elevate you. And I think that that's the entry point for a lot of people into kind of the self-development, personal growth space. You go through the fitness tunnel to lead you to these greater things that you and I are talking about. But secondly, you shared the examples here. Like when you're training in a gym, if it's a high profile gym, you're going to be around people, the right type of people. People that are regular in the gyms are people that are committed to their own personal growth, people that are committed to their own health. So a smart young personal trainer would stack their morning with a lot of clients. Then they would work out between 10 and noon. And here's why: because the people that are in the gym between 10 and noon are the people that can afford to be in the gym between 10 and noon. I have some of my longest standing relationships that I've met between the hours of 10 and 12. Some of the most successful people in the world that I'm connected with, I met at the gym between 10 and noon. So what did being a fitness coach and trainer do for you, for your health, for your psychology, for your mindset? And how has this made you a better coach once you've entered into the business, personal development, kind of all these things that you're doing here today?
So look, I'm 54 years old. I'll be 55 this summer, right? And I know I got a lot of white in my hair, but I'm young looking. I'm strong. I'm tough. For a 54-year-old, I'm very fit, and I'm looking to get fitter and leaner all the time. I've done 75 hard twice, uh, just to give you a sense of that. So it gave me a lot of confidence. Also, because I was passionate about helping other people, I met a lot of successful people that really opened a lot of fantastic doors for me. So that's been really, really great. But fitness also makes me feel better about myself. It allows me to calm down, because exercise just calms me down for sure. And it's a game changer, man. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do, is to get up and exercise every single day.
I love that. Love that so much. I want to make a slight pivot here. I think obviously we've given a lot of value on the thought leadership side of things. You mentioned that you have a men's group and you're very passionate about helping men. I'd like to spend the rest of the conversation really talking about men and the need for men to be in these groups and to have coaches and have mentors. So where did the passion for you, or where did this men's group coaching come from in your life?
Well, and back in 2009, I was married, and my then wife decided she didn't want to be married to me. It came seemingly out of the blue. I went into a tailspin, was angry with her. I was depressed, and I joined a men's group. And out of joining that men's group, I got my butt kicked. And then I joined another men's group, and I became passionate about helping other men. And through that group, I stopped blaming my ex. I took responsibility. And when that happened, all the bullshit and anger around it went away completely. She and I started to get along. She signed the divorce papers. It was after that point, it was not acrimonious. It was not financially taxing on me. I mean, obviously it was. Any divorce is financially taxing, but I wasn't saddled with huge financial liabilities and obligations. We came to a good place. I made a deal to pay her some money, and that was it. It was done. And here's what I've realized: we're living in a time where a lot of men are lost. A lot of men aren't being taught how to be a man. A lot of fathers from previous generations, just didn't do their job. Now, I'm not talking about pre-1960, because those fathers definitely did do their jobs, but fathers after that, they just didn't do their job. They got caught up in the attacks that the feminist movement made on men and masculinity, and they bought that. They accepted that was true, that they were all this, that, and the other. And it was, unfortunately, what it did is it led to a massive societal shift, and not a good one. A lot of families broke up. Children grew up without a father in the home. A lot of boys ended up committing crimes and getting into juvenile trouble. A lot of girls got into trouble too, because not having a good man around, they didn't model a good man to be with. They started to have more, out of wedlock sex. A lot of them got pregnant. A lot of them started doing drugs as well. The negative impact of this on children and families is horrendous and awful. Was there a positive impact? Well, I think it's good that women got equality before the law when it comes to certain things. But right now, the pendulum swung so far the other way that it's not about equality anymore. It's about putting men down and taking rights away from men. And it gave them to women, but now it's not even giving women rights because women are being, for example, forced to compete in sports against biological men who have no interest or intention of actually physically transitioning to a woman. They just call themselves a woman. They go into sports because they couldn't hack it as a man. Well, let's be honest. And they're not competing as a woman because they know they're physically strong and they're going to win. That's gross and it's disgusting. I have a lot of sympathy for a true person who's having gender confusion and wrestles with the issue. Tons of sympathy. One of my best friends, his brother transitioned to a woman, and another one of my best friends, his daughter transitioned to a man. And I know these folks. They're good people. They genuinely had trouble. They couldn't understand why they were born this way. They dealt with this, and they came up with a good decision for them. We're not living in a time where it's becoming trendy to say I'm transgender, even if someone really isn't. It's crazy. We need to obviously give space to anybody who's gay, straight, transgender, bisexual, whatever they want to call themselves. 100% need to give people space to be who they are in a free society. What we don't need to do, which we're doing right now, is saying this is the norm. We should steer people into this stream, even when they're too young to really understand it, like kids under the age of 10, which is absolutely freaking insane. Absolutely insane. And then, hey, you know what? Let's also sexualize children. Let's have Disney and other companies create material for little kids that's of a sexual nature. And by little kids, I mean 8-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 5-year-olds. That's ridiculous. We need to put a stop to this. Yeah, we got to have compassion and tolerance. 100% we got to do that. But we also got to, get with the program over here and not start thinking that compassion and tolerance means that some ideas, which quite frankly are how can I put this, extreme to say the least, and bring them on to little kids who don't have the capacity to understand what this is or think it through. But because adults are bringing it to them, they just trustingly accept it. This is a dereliction of duty for us as parents. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. Don't sexualize little kids, man. No freaking way.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I'm glad I'm glad you're open to discussing this. And I think what you said there is important. Like, we're not here to shame or condemn these people. Like, we want to care for them. We want to give them the help that they need. But the help isn't to cut your penis off and go swimming in a pool with biological girls. Like, there's other routes. Like, there's a major mental health crisis. So
I think that's
this is obviously
anybody who's suffering from gender identity issues. They're going, I'm not sure I should have been born a man or I should have been born a woman. First thing we got to do is say, okay, let's talk about it. Let's bring you to somebody who's sensitive, caring, and will help you in a non-judgmental fashion air those issues out for yourself, because a lot of that comes from other issues. It could be someone's faced depression because they've had family trouble. You know what I mean? It could be that somebody, I don't know, heaven forbid, was raped by their parents. You know what I mean? Or raped by an uncle or an aunt, or was raped by somebody else. And their mom and dad freaked out and couldn't deal with it for them. And this is what's causing them. We don't know. And I'm not an expert. All I can tell you is prior to 5 years ago, gender dysphoria was considered a mental disorder. And I don't want to make that sound like disorder, that there's something wrong with this person. But it's like, hey, you not understanding what your gender is something that we are actually going to help you deal with and treat, because maybe it's just related to other things. And if it is, you can resolve those without going through transitioning and surgery, because that stuff hurts, man. That's like, and it's irreversible, right? And I'm hearing stories about teenagers that are saying, I did this and I feel that my parents and the school board and the doctors should have had a conversation with me to help me maybe not make this decision at the age of 11. You know what I mean? Like, just maybe. And that's the sort of thing that I think as a society right now, people are too scared to get up and speak. Screw that, man. Screw that. This is who I am. This is what I believe. If you don't agree with this, listen, all the space and tolerance and kindness and compassion and love in the world for all human beings, no matter who they are or who they think they are. There for them, God bless them. Zero tolerance for those people that are maliciously and malevolently using this to cause division in our society and screw up people who frankly need to be given a way to think these things through rather than immediately running on to say, I'm going to take puberty blockers. I'm going to go and, cut off my penis or cut off my breasts. Bullshit to that. That should not happen for anyone under the age of 18 for any reason. Until you're 18, you should need to be thinking these issues through. If you're older than 18, you're an adult, you can make whatever decision you want. But you're a child, nope, 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 and nope.
Yeah, so you mentioned, this really all started, in the 60s maybe with the feminist, wave and movement here. Do you feel we've reached a point where it's gone too far, or if not, like how do we get back control?
Look, feminism wave 1, which was all about legal equality before the law. There was a lot I could get behind in feminism wave 1. Feminism wave 3 and wave 4 is plain and simple insane. And I'm not going to say that I'm in favor of this because I'm not. It's destroying our society. If we don't do something about it, we won't recognize our society. And frankly, our enemies from without are going to see that we're a weakened society divided against itself. We don't have strong masculine men. They're going to attack us. They're going to destroy us. It'll be like Rome back in 438 AD when the Visigoths came and sacked it and destroyed the Roman Empire. We are in that stage right now. We are where Rome was about 50, 100 years before it fell. We got to watch ourselves.
Yeah, I know you're probably familiar with the statement, strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong men.
This is the Sovereign Man hoodie. This is on the back of every Sovereign Man garment.
Got it.
Can you read it?
Yep, exactly what I just said. Hard times create strong men create.
A friend of mine wrote that poem. His
good
name
times.
is Jeff Michael Hopf. He's been on my podcast. Good man.
I love to connect with Jeff.
Sure.
Where are we in that?
Where are we and where?
Hard times, good men, strong men.
We are in hard times, brother. We are definitely in hard times. We're in hard times.
Got it. So it's these conversations, it's your movement, it's the Sovereign Man, it's the Superman Life, it's Ryan Mickler that are lifting up the strong men. So how do we get more men on board?
Look, you got to sign more men up for your program. Ryan's got to sign men up for his, and I got to sign more men up for mine. Because like I said, we need 10,000 men with 10,000 men each. That's only 100 million men. Like if you have 10,000 men in your program, that's wonderful for you from a business point of view. But from a worldwide impact point of view, that's a small village, bro. It's nothing. It's nothing. That's why we need 10,000.
Well, it's empowering those 10,000 men to then go out and create a tribe of their own 10,000 men, and then their own 10,000 men, and then their own 10,000 men.
But here's the truth: most of them won't. They won't. You need 10,000 men like me, you, Ryan, Larry Hagner. That's what we need. That's how we're going to win, brother. We're not going to win any other way, right? We need people that are self-selecting as leaders to come forward and help them build their tribes. You need to win. I need to win. Ryan needs to win. Larry Hagner needs to win. Bedros Keuilian needs to win. All these men need to win.
Pedro's coming on a podcast here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, I'm working on getting him. Big fan of Bedros's work. Obviously, I have a background in the fitness space. Going back to this thought leadership. Once we decide, commit, act, and win, where are people struggling the most in those 4 steps? Like, is it between acting and waiting for that win? Is that where the biggest holdup is in the decision?
People just are afraid to decide, brother. That's what we want to teach them. The power of now. Act now. Everything's now. Nothing's later. Everything's now. It's a yes or no.
So how do we empower people to begin to decide? How do we empower them to begin to decide?
Challenge them. If they're men, challenge them. Men need to be challenged. They don't need to be empowered. They need to be challenged. Women need to be empowered. Men need to be challenged. You don't challenge a woman, she'll rip your face off. But you can't empower a man because it doesn't work for him. Oh, yeah, he becomes girly. Challenge him. Act now. Get off your duff. What are you doing? Don't be an idiot.
But wouldn't you say that a man that is lacking decisiveness being a masculine trait, like would challenging him like actually get the job done, or would that maybe have him put his guard up? Like if he's not decisive,
then he won't do it. So you can't do this with just any old man that you have no relationship or relatedness with. But if you know that man, you're related to him, and you're not challenging him, that's a dereliction of duty on your part. Dereliction of duty. Now, if you don't know him, you got to ask him for permission to have an honest conversation with him. And you can't just go from, hi, I just met you, to I'm going to challenge you. It's not going to work.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha. So it's in that rapport building, trust
you
building
got to have
process.
that first, man. But once you have that, then you challenge him. If you don't challenge him, you're not helping him. Frank, if there's a man that you've known for 10 years and he's addicted to porn and he's stepping out on his wife, and you go, well, maybe you might not want to do that. Screw that, man. You're going to get in his face and go, what the hell are you doing? Stop watching porn and stop stepping out on your woman. I know your kids. This is bullshit. You're going to destroy these kids with this bullshit way you're being. You're not going to tell him, I think maybe you want to consider doing that differently. No, you're not going to tell him that. Now, if he's a man you don't know, then that's a different story. He's a man you don't know and you find out this, maybe you need to ask him for permission to have a deep conversation with him. But if he is a man challenge him, push him.
Yeah, so let's say there's a guy hearing this, and he's like, man, I so-and-so in my life, John in my life, like he's struggling with these things, but John's got a guard up. Like, I can't get through to him. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's one of his best friends, but they're not super, super close. What would that guy do? How can that guy begin to build some trust between?
I ask him for permission. You can't go at a man just for the hell of it, right? You can't do that. You got to ask for permission. And if the man doesn't give you permission, then he doesn't give you permission. But if you have permission, then you should do it.
So are some people too far lost that we can't save them?
I don't know, bro. I'm always going to do my best to help every man. But if a man doesn't want my help, I'm going to let him go. Comes back into my space, I'll still offer to help him. But if he still says no, I'm going to let him go. I had a man in our community, Sovereign Man, the other day. We were setting up an overnight. An overnight is where a group of men get together. We go out camping and we do some cool stuff, go through some content, cook some food together, do some fun things, right? Jump in a lake, swim, blah, blah, blah. So this man had said he was going to come. And then I was asking a whole bunch of other men if they were going to come. And then he came and he says, I'm out. I said, wait a minute, you said you were in. He said, well, I changed my mind. And I said, well, you said you were in and, we're building this event and we were counting on you being there. He got defensive and upset. Well, I have the right to change my mind. I just looked at him and I go, you're a man. You gave your word. Not a woman. A woman has a prerogative to change her mind. You're a man. You gave your word. So why are you doing this? He got angry. He got pissy. He started insulting me, insulted the other fellow who runs the group. Some of the other men in the group tried to tell him, hey, no one's trying to tell you what to do. They are telling you, you did give your word. What the hell are you doing? Breaking your word is not what we do here, right? And he didn't give a shit, and he quit the group. I tried to have a conversation with him. He refused. He refused to pick up the phone, told me he wouldn't speak to me. I've known this man for 18 years. I let him go. It was good that I let him go. It was good for him because he doesn't want to do the work. It's good for the group because we set a standard that in this group we keep our word. And frankly, it was good for me because, I was trying to roll a boulder uphill and that doesn't work too good. So, awesome. But the men that have stayed in the group, if they don't keep their word, I'm all over them, man. I'm all over them. Like this dude last night, it was 10 o'clock at night, and he's committed to do 2 asks a day for his business. He did one, and he did another one by voicemail. So I called him up, and I said, you've only done 1 ask. He says, oh, no, it's late. I said, I don't care. You need to go do another ask. Go do the other ask. That was your word. You're not allowed to break your word on this issue because you break your word too easily everywhere. He was pissed, but he made the call and he did the ask.
I bet he made money too, right?
Well,
probably closed that sale.
I don't know.
Or he will.
I think he set up a meeting with that ask, but still, he made the ask. And what matters is that he made the ask. He kept his word. Like I do 3 asks a day. Now today, this is my second podcast interview that I've done. I also had 2 meetings. One was a lunch meeting. One was a Zoom meeting both with prospects. And, that's 4 big meetings already. And then this evening, I'm going to the soccer game here in Toronto. And I'm meeting a fellow. He's a friend and a prospect. So I'll do a 5th ask. That's 5 meetings, man, in a day. That's a lot.
Love it.
It's a lot.
That is a lot. That is a lot. You're a huge reader, Nicky, aren't you?
I read 159 books last year. Paper books.
What?
No, not audio. Paper. Open, close.
Why is it important for men, for thought leaders, to constantly be reading?
Well, readers are leaders. If you're not reading, you're not going to be leading. And for me, it touches my soul. I learn, I grow. If you're wanting to be a thought leader, you better read good thought leadership from other thought leaders. Like, I mean, you know, inside the space of men, I've read Ryan Michler's book, Sovereignty. I've read a lot of Jack Donovan's books. I've read Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stephen Arnio. I read The Way to Superior Man by David Data. I actually read that 3 times. You know, I got to read books about men, masculinity, manhood. These are important things to do. You know, in sales, I've read books by Grant Cardone, Tommy Hopkins. I've read books by Jeffrey Gitomer. That's because I want to be a better salesperson. In running businesses, you know, I've read books by Michael Gerber, Brian Scudamore of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I get to learn from the smartest people in the world in their area. Why wouldn't you read? I also read a lot of fiction, man. It soothes my soul.
What are the top 3 books men should read?
So inside Sovereign Man, we actually have a list of 40 books. Okay. So top 3 is challenging, but I'll tell you 3 that I think every man could at least start with. Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stephen Arnio. The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. And Jack Donovan's The Way of Men. Those are 3 good books to start with. And by the way, like for guys who like go, oh, well, Nicky, you're not into, gays and transgenders and all that jazz. That's not true. Like, my best friend growing up was gay. Jack Donovan is gay, by the way, for people who don't know that. And yeah, Jack is gay. And, 2 of my good friends, as I said, have had children that have a child and a brother that transitioned. I grew up when I was a teenager. My dad owned a tanning salon that was in the gay section of Toronto. They used to call it the gay ghetto. I grew up around gay men, man. Like I worked the front desk, and all these guys, they became my buddies. I kind of grew up with these men. They helped raise me, and they were kind of my protectors, because I was a kid. I was a teenager, man. And I was in this gay area, and there were some dudes who were like, "Hey, man, this kid looks good. And then these dudes, the gay dudes in there, no, man. That's like my nephew. Buzz off, buzz off, you 50-year-old pervert, right?" That's what they'd say, and it was they're good people, really good people, like any people. There's good people.
Yeah, no, I've men like that in my life. Some of those that I met at the gym between that 10 a.m. and noon time period that I was telling you about, and these have been friends that I've had for a decade plus. And I look at them just like I would look at any of my other friends. They just go home to.
They go home to a man. That's
yeah,
all. They like sex with men.
Yeah,
that's their preference. It's a free country. Whatever the heck you want to do, man.
But we have the same conversations that I have with anybody else. I think the line that gets crossed, though, sounds like with some of these other men that were trying to push certain things, and I think that's what we're seeing, in today's world, in today's culture.
I don't think it's the mainstream gay community that's doing this, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's a bunch of very limited people, activists. These are people that are very insecure, very angry, and honestly should not be in the commanding heights of the culture, right? Like, what can I tell you? My lawyer's gay. I used to be his fitness trainer. Great man, very smart man. I go to him for advice on tons of things. Respect him greatly. And I know he's not nuts. Like, you know what I mean? He's got a husband. God bless him. That's what he wants. That's the way he's wired, and it's a wonderful thing that he's found a way to be comfortable in his own skin. I think that's great. Super, super great. But we all got to be comfortable in our own skin, man. You got to be comfortable being straight. You got to be comfortable being gay. You got to be comfortable transitioning if that's your deal. All right. And you got to respect other people. And honestly, these crazy people, they're trying to force everybody to go down a certain path. Those are the only people I have an issue with. Everybody else, I got no issues with, none whatsoever.
You're a man of faith, Nicky. Is that correct?
I am. I'm a Christian.
Has faith always been in your life? And so what role has it played in your?
Come back and forth, brother, from my faith. When I was younger, I went to church, and then when the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran, I got turned off of religion for a couple of decades. But as I grew older, I saw the value in it, and I saw that it was missing in my life.
And where are you at today, if you don't mind me asking? And why is it important to you?
Well, look, where I'm at today is I'm a committed Christian. I'm definitely a sinner. I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes, and I but I look to live my life uh, in a godly and Christian way. That's all I can tell you. As I said, imperfectly. I ask for God's forgiveness a lot on a daily basis.
Yeah, I asked for it before we hit record, man. Just knowing that I was probably going to make some slips and errors today, and I'm sure I did. Um, Nick, I just want to acknowledge you, man. I really appreciate you, your passion, your energy, your willingness to serve and help people. It shines through you, and I know that the audience got a ton out of today. I got a ton out of this. I'm looking forward to connecting with you again when we link up here to come on the Thought Leader Revolution podcast. So we end every single episode with the same question, but before we do that, if people want to learn more about you, if they want to connect with you, I know you give out free success calls to people. So tell people where they can learn more about you, where they can find the podcast, and where they can connect with you. And then we'll bring today's conversation home with our final question.
So look, I got, podcast is at thoughtleaderrevolution.com or the Sovereign Man podcast as well. I do the men's podcast too. They can go and look up either one of those and check it out. We got a sovereignman.ca website, the thoughtleaderrevolution.com website. Those are available as well. But honestly, if you're in business and you need to grow and you've been stuck for a while and like you're serious about growing, you're done not growing, then jump on that success call. Go to eCircleacademy.com/appointment and go click on the button in the top right-hand corner that says book a success call. There's an application form in there. So I want you to fill that out because I want to make sure you're serious about success. I want to make sure you're serious about taking action to take your dream forward. I'm not looking for folks who want to kick a tire and just have a nice conversation with somebody. That is not interesting to me. What I'm interested in is someone who's ready to be the best version of themselves, someone who's ready to decide, to commit, to act, and to win. Someone who's ready to say yes to themselves, yes to their dreams, yes to the glory that God has in store for them. That's who I'm looking for. So if that's you, jump on a call with me. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Amen to that. Guys, we'll get all that information shared down, connect with the podcast, schedule a call only if you're serious, though. Don't waste Nicky's time. But if you're sticking around to this point, then you probably are that go-getter. So, Nicky, we end every single episode here with the same question. Obviously, the title of the show is The Superhuman Life. I think we kind of touched on it here at the beginning. So, I believe that we're all put on this earth for a purpose. There's a divine calling on each single one of our lives, but that's not enough. We need to be intentional about how we show up every single day. We need to be chasing excellence. We need to be chasing growth. And when you combine those two together, that's what I believe is living a superhuman life. But I like to get the guest take. So, Nicky, as we end today's conversation, how would you define living a superhuman life?
Well, that's a fantastic question, brother. So step one, every day, work out, eat good, healthy food, honor the body that God gave you as you would honor his temple. Drink lots of water. Avoid crappy food. Avoid excessive consumption of alcohol. Avoid all that. Fill your head with positive stuff. Find somebody you can make a difference for today and go make a difference for that person. Read a good book. Listen to something good and positive. And take one powerful big step out of your comfort zone. You do that every single day, and you are living a superhuman life.
Nicky, we're 134 episodes into the podcast, and nobody has ever given an actual step-by-step formula on how to live a superhuman life. So I appreciate you because normally we get these kind of philosophical definitions like chase your excellence, kind of maybe what I shared. But that was incredible. So wake up, honor your body, eat healthy food, train, work out, hydrate, pursue goals, serve and help other people, read, learn, and know that you were created in God's image and you are an expert in your own walk, in your own journey, and in your own life story. So Nicky Billou, appreciate you, brother. Love you so much, guys. If you are new here, we want to thank you for checking us out. If this is your first podcast, guys, we're 134 episodes into this. We've been at this thing for almost 3 years, and we've seen tremendous growth over these last couple of months, and it's all because of you. So if you got value out of today's conversation, you can help us and support us by leaving us 5-star rating or written review. But most importantly, if there's somebody in your life that maybe needs to hear this message, maybe they're going through some struggles right now, maybe they need to hear Nicky's message, or maybe they need to get on the success call with them. Do us the favor, but do them the blessing by sharing today's conversation with them. But for Nicky Billou of the Thought Leader Revolution podcast, founder of the E-Circle Academy, Frank Rich, hosting Superhuman Life. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.